So this was all more about Rotary, and as I've been going round my visits, the number of people that says, I wish I knew about this, or I wish I knew about that, or I need to know more about this. So this is real basic stuff about some of the history and some of where it came from, and we can have a look at some of where it's going. So I've got a presentation, but I've also, during the presentation, I'm going to be looking at using breakout rooms, and 16 on, we'll have probably just 4 breakout rooms. Alistair, could you just watch if other people sneak in? Excellent, thank you. So let me just share my screen a second, and if I can pick the right one. So it's all about a little bit more about Rotary. So the big thing is, how often do we talk about and people say, what on earth's that acronyms? So we should obviously have a jargon-free zone, but what I'm going to put up is that actually means something if you know the acronyms. So all the past district governors on the call, you can tell us what this lot means. So we're all guilty of using acronyms, and especially if we've got new people in the room, they'll all going around and saying, what on earth does that mean? So let's not do that. I was at a client meeting for a new contract, and in the space of 4 hours they used 102 acronyms. Yeah. And it's frightening. So I have put up something like this at the end, but that meant something to them. So let's not do that. So what I'm going to do is have a quick look into the overview of Rotary across the world, a bit of history, a little bit about how it's structured and what it does, and maybe some of the things you might not realize that we've done. But a lot of this is also going to be about you and what do you think about Rotary as such. So if we just dive into this, if I was to put you in breakout rooms, what are your perceptions of Rotary? I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes on this. And I'm going to put you in, what are your perceptions of Rotary? And then when you come back out the breakout room, let's see, let's have 14, I'll put 4 rooms on, and I'll assign them automatically. So I have no idea where people are going. And I'll create it now, and I'll open all the rooms, and we'll come back just in 5 minutes. So there you go. So the question was, you know, what are your perceptions of Rotary? Go and put that in the chat box, what your perceptions are.
Oh, there are too many.
So go and give me, who was in breakout room one big item.
We said it was an opportunity to build relationships, to pursue activities that float your boat.
Yeah.
You want to keep going just because I've got a list, and I'll never.
No. Just one. Room 2. Room 2. Somebody from room 2. What was a big one for you?
It was giving something back.
Sure.
That was basically it.
Yeah. Room 3.
We thought there were difficulties sometimes earlier in Rotary's life when it was too stuffy and too regimented, but hopefully that's changing now. Yeah. But the main thing was to give something back.
Sure. Good. Room 4.
Is that me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we just said, I reckoned we're working our way as an organisation, but still struggling and varying from club to club as to get rid of the old image and work our way out of it. You know, which is all about getting younger views and younger attitudes. Yeah. And some are doing better than others.
Okay, so that's good. So now, for some reason, my thing's not letting me show show the menu for some reason. Now, my menu's disappeared.
No, I'm trying to get the sound better.
That is really strange. So what I was going to do, if I could, was actually run on. Here we go. Just run on share the screen again. So the idea was go and put some of these in the chat box that you've got. Just pile them in the chat box, and we'll pick all of that up later. But if some of the perceptions that some people might have are what Rotarians might look like, yeah, the laugh tells me a lot. Isn't that better, seeing something like that? Don't know how you can describe this, what they're doing, and what it's to do with Rotary. And does this sell Rotary to the public? Is that Nelson Mandela in the back? I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah. Or some of this. Again, what does it say about Rotary in some of this? Bit of fun?
Multicultural.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just something about Rotarians. But the thing is, what is Rotary? I think a lot of people know what this is. Is it, I picked this up from somewhere else, and it says business and professional. Is it only for business and professional? And I would argue it's not.
No.
Anybody that wants to give back to the community and who abides by our values, provides opportunity for humanitarian service, we've talked of, encourages high ethical standards and builds goodwill and peace. And we'll come back on to some of that. What I am going to do is, I'm just going to very quickly, it's actually not allowing me to mute things. So a bit more about Rotary. Somewhere around 1.4 million members, including Rotaract. Alistair, could you just mute everyone except me? Thanks. I'm just picking up. So globally, 530 districts, each mute myself. And there's 3 districts in Scotland. So 1010 is ourselves, 1020 is South Scotland, and 1230 is West. And later this year, 1020 and 1230 are going to merge into one. And 1010, we've got 88 Rotary clubs from, that should have said Leven to Lerwick, not Level to Lerwick. And maybe there's a level crossing in Leven. And from Stonehaven to Stornoway, as I put it, 400 miles north-south, the time you get up to Lerwick is our district. And we've got over 2,200 members. That sounds a lot. 10 years ago, we'd over 3,000 members. And a horrible statistic. People have heard me in my club visit saying, if we hadn't lost anybody over the last 4 or 5 years, we'd easily be over that 3,000. So before we test, that was put together in 1932 of the things we think, say, or do. I'm not going to read this out. You know it. But it's just a fabulous way of us checking ourselves on what we're doing and whether the decisions we make are right. And it's a simple set of tests. Some famous Rotarians, anything from Winston Churchill. I see Clarence Birdseye there. I had to go and look at that one, but the guy set up Birdseye. And Sir Nicholas Winton is the guy that saved so many people from Nazi Germany in the war. King Charles III, I actually checked on that. I was up at Wick at their charter, and I looked up the names of who were members, and actually at the time it was the Duke and Duchess of Rothesay. So I guess that's now King Charles. And of course, Elgin has the Princess Royal as an honorary member. There's some interesting names in there, and people that understand and respect what we do. And of course, our worldwide president, Jennifer Jones, from Windsor Roseland in Ontario, Canada. And some of you had the pleasure of meeting her when she was in Scotland, I think back in May last year. And our theme gives us so much to be able to think about is imagine Rotary. Imagine what Rotary could be and what's possible in the future. So an absolute delight. And if you ever give her a chance of a microphone, she's certainly not going to refuse it, and comes over exceptionally well. So that's our worldwide president. But the objects, and again, this is pretty old language. Personally, I'd like to see something more modern in our language, but it still serves us well. The development of acquaintance. And when I ask people who would be interested in joining Rotary, it's about networking, it's about giving back, it's about the opportunity to lead. And this kind of fits with all of that, and doing it ethically and professionally in whatever we do. So here's the man, 118 years ago, just last week, we became 118 as Paul Harris, and he invited 3 of his friends, Sylvester, Gustavus, and Hiram, and they really wanted some networking and some fellowship that was around the turn of the previous century. So 23rd of February, as I said, so that's 118 years ago that they met in downtown Chicago and started the Rotary Club of Chicago. So there's the first 4. And then it spread. San Francisco, that a convention pulling everybody together in 1910, and the convention this year is in Melbourne, Australia. So I'm going out there to see what that's about. So certainly become international. They sneaked over the border into Winnipeg as well. And outside North America, Dublin claims to be the first formed. Belfast around the same. London was formed. But to actually get the charter, London's claiming the first one outside North America in 1912. But if we look at some of the other clubs, sneaked up to Glasgow in 13, in our own district, Aberdeen 16, Perth 17, and other centenarians in our district, Dundee, Dunfermline, Inverness, Kirkcaldy. And this year, I think the only other one this year is going to be Cowdenbeath. And their celebration is going to be the 3rd of November in Wee Jimmy's Bar in Cowdenbeath. So 1921 is on 6 continents. And our newest offering in the district is the Hub of Opportunities. And what you see in the right is what they want it to be, whether it's service or fun, inclusive, particularly friendship and community. And they were chartered mid-22. And really interestingly, they were developed during COVID. So COVID certainly didn't stop new clubs, new members joining us. Some people say they're an e-club or this club or that club. They say we're a blend. We're not an e-club, we're not this. They do meet online, but given an opportunity, they meet face-to-face as well. If you ever get an opportunity, go along and see these people. And we've another club that's not quite chartered, but we've got them through provisional status. and that's going to be called Bridge of Communities, and that's primarily aimed at the Polish community, and being led by Pole living in Scotland, Maciek. So hopefully we can get that over the line before conference if we can, and invite them all. Well, they'll come along to conference. We'll invite them to conference anyway. Of course we will. And until that club's formed, they've actually joined the Hub of Opportunities, so they can see what it's all about. So some of the history. At the 1914 convention, an international association, and in 22 became Rotary International. So that's now 100 years that's just been called Rotary International. And we adopted service not self, but that was changed to service above self. So, and in these islands, we talked about that. The British Association of Rotary Clubs became Rotary in Britain and Ireland in 1922, or Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland as we know it. Some people shorten it to RGBI, but that's not quite right, because RGBI is Rotaract. So Rotary and GBNI is our I guess, title. And I've had my finger smacked several times for getting it wrong, I'm sure. And no doubt we'll do it again. So the first emblem was the wagon wheel, 24 cog gear wheel and 6 spokes. And the royal blue and gold was adopted in 29. And that, of course, has changed to this, and making it more explicit and more visible that we are Rotary. That's actually been in the go, I'm going to guess, 10 years now. But we still see clubs using the old logo. So let's, if we go to McDonald's, they use one brand. Let's us do the same. Let's make sure that's the logo we use. And of course, we do have the option of putting our club name on that. And that's all available in the brand center, which we can all get a hold of. So that's maybe just what it looked like originally, but what a change. I think everyone recognizes exactly what we are. So we talked a little bit about what Rotary is. How can we make Rotary more appealing to more people today? How can we make Rotary more appealing to more people today? So if we went back into breakout rooms, and for some reason, breakout rooms have disappeared off my screen. Why is that? So if I just stop sharing that, so how could we make Rotary more appealing? 5 minutes, no more. I'll stop sharing and get the breakout rooms back. Same rooms. I think everybody's got a room that's here. So I'll open the rooms now, and 5 minutes. So welcome back, everybody.
Yes, yes.
So a very short discussion. So room 1, what was the one key thing that would make Rotary more appealing? So we need to watch, maybe you're on mute.
Yeah, flexible structure, and just tag on greater use of multimedia.
Yeah. Room 2, put it in chat, put all your thoughts on chat, but we'll just hear who's in room 2. What was a key thing for you? And just watch in case you're on mute.
Well, we talked about the annual subscription.
Okay.
Some people, I mean, I think the members in the room felt that a subscription was appropriate, but clearly there's evidence that some potential members don't think it's appropriate.
Okay. Room 3. Put all your thoughts in the chat as well, and we'll just pick it up and share it.
So I suggest that the thing that comes up most often is the image. And I think the most and highest priority is to change the image.
Okay. And room 4?
So I go.
Yeah, room 4. Yeah, seeing Rotary in action, which might be through projects, get folk even involved doing things with and projects, and then perhaps become attracted to join, and that can even be done through vocational visits as well.
Okay.
Hybrid meetings makes it more appealing.
Okay.
Friends of Rotary.
And I guess one of the
halfway house.
As people, as I go around the visits, I say, is your club I-cubed? Is it inviting? Is it inspirational? And is it irresistible? And if it's not, change it. Change it so it is. I'm going to put this screen share back on again. Again, just pile things into the chat. Let's capture all those ideas. So, and again, just put things into the chat and we'll pick it up. So here's just a little clip. It's a 1-minute clip.
My name's Naomi Riches. I am halfway through what I think is probably the biggest challenge of my life, to set a Guinness World Record to be the fastest woman to row down the length of the Thames in a single scull. Recently, Marlow had their newest Rotary club. They've now got 3, but it's Marlow Bridge Rotary Club, which I'm an associate member of. I absolutely love Rotary. They're having a massive amount to do with this challenge. Their logo is on my boat. They're just so willing and so passionate to help people and help them achieve what they want to achieve that I want to be involved with those sorts of people.
My name's Louise Kelly. I am the founding president of Marlow Bridge Rotary Club, and our view was that we wanted to set up a new club that was slightly younger and catered for those of us who work, so we just wanted to meet in a different format to a lot of the existing clubs that are already in the town and just sort of bring something new and fresh to Rotary. So we started as a satellite club and then have become our own club in our own right. The Marlow Club and Marlow Thames clubs have really supported us, and they've been kind of behind the driving force behind the recruitment. The number of women we have in the club is about 50-50. We're bringing lots of people in. I think really what the draw is the community side of it and the charity side of it. It's less about the networking. A lot of people want to just give something back to the community that they live in. Naomi has been a part of Marlow and at the heart of Marlow for a long, long time. She's a gold medal winning Paralympian. We've really kind of got behind her with this, and it's been great as a new club to have something this vibrant to support.
So we'll just stop that. But there's so much more to Rotary than just its history and the new clubs. That's quite interesting, the Marlow one. Our 5-6 newest clubs are the same. They're 50-50 men and women, average age, high 40s. Our youngest president in their 20s. We've got a couple of 18-year-olds. So it's right across the spectrum. But Rotaries are more about that. And some of our things we support are 7 areas of focus. My personal passion is the basic education and literacy. If we can educate people, I have a feeling everything else will sort. But you can see on here, and I think a lot of people know, it's about health. It's about peace and conflict resolution. It's about sanitation and hygiene. It's about economic development and supporting the environment. And our own charity, our foundation, for 14 consecutive years has received the highest 4-star rating from Charity Navigator. And here's the words that Charity Navigator says, the words in the yellow. It sets us apart from our peers and demonstrates our trustworthiness. So how did Foundation start? The 1917 convention with Arch Klumpf, who was international president then, and the father of the foundation. And he set up an endowment fund for doing good in the world in the Rotary Foundation. And through the years, first contribution was in 1918. The first grant was made in 28. And in 1947, Arch Klumpf suggested, and Rotarians suggested, to recognize Paul Harris. They actually contributed $1.5 million in 1947 what's that worth today? And obviously the scholarship programs started. And there's an interesting one. And I've asked, very few people know that when I ask who wrote the UN Charter, and 49 Rotarians actually helped write the UN Charter. That's how respected we are around the world. And obviously polio, you can read this as fast, a lot faster than I can go through it. But there was 22 cases last year. And they actually give me hope that we can sort this. 2 countries, it was Afghanistan had a couple and Pakistan had 20, I believe, last year. And we've just got to continue for at least 3 years. I think the last time I looked, we were 5 months free in the world. I think that's, I've not checked it in the last couple of weeks. So we've just got to keep vaccinating for 3 years. Because if we don't, polio is a plane ride away, as we found out and listened on the sewage in London, or somebody being paralyzed in New York. And then there's kids in Malawi and Mozambique, which we've actually, I believe, eliminated that problem very quickly. And on peace, if we just, look, here's a 40 seconds. A nice short clip. And then obviously our global scholars, 1/3 students have gone through our global scholar program. And our peace program does, I think from memory, it's 130 odd scholars a year paid, given a grant for doing master's degrees in peace and conflict resolution every year. And part of that's in Bradford in the UK. So the foundation is why we are Rotarians. And every penny we put in is spent on programs, whether it's educational, as my personal passion, or humanitarian, looking after. And we've all heard about the recent grants to support Ukraine, and our own district did 2 grants worth $25,000 each to support people in Ukraine, and then obviously more recently in Turkey and Syria. The difficult thing is we don't know how to get stuff into Syria, and I believe Alloa have found a way of, the Rotary Club of Alloa have found a way of getting things into Syria through Cyprus, I believe it is. But everything we put in comes back, either decided by the trustees, or the majority of it is decided by Rotarians in our districts. And we've obviously got a wider family with Rotaract, Interact, and of course Rota Kids. Rota Kids doesn't exist anywhere else in the world but in the UK. And Frank kindly put in the chat box that I said there was 30-odd thousand and clubs in the world. There's actually, as you rightly point out, there's way over 40,000. India, for example, grows 1,000 clubs a year. I think it surprises me, why don't we have more Rotaract? If we've got 88 Rotary clubs, why don't we have 88 Rotaract clubs? And 88 Interact clubs? We've certainly got more than 88 schools. So, and our theme, as we've said, Jennifer's theme for the year is Imagine Rotary. But the theme for the district is Celebrate the Past and Build the Future. And that's the theme for conference on the 10th of June in Perth. So come along to that and let's celebrate the things we've achieved, and let's think what we can do to build the future going forward. But we can also do so much more. We also do so much more. and youth projects. This weekend, we've got the Scottish final of Young Chef. I was at the district final for Young Musician about a month ago, and the Scottish finals in the Royal Conservatoire in Glasgow. And I think it's 26th of April rings a bell. It's somewhere around, and that's open to everyone. We do so much more. So what kind of things interest you? And how can Rotary help you achieve that? What kind of things interest you? And how can Rotary help you achieve what you want, your dreams, your imagination? I'm going to stop sharing, and we're just going to breakout rooms once more. Might actually be twice more, but once just now. 5 minutes is all you're getting, and the rooms are now open. So welcome back, everybody. Time goes pretty quickly, doesn't it, in that breakout rooms? Lots of nods there. So who wants to give me one thing that would, again, put it in the chat. Put your ideas in the chat. What interests you, and how could Rotary help? How could Rotary help you do that? Who's one person that wants to put up their hand and say, I'll give you one? Come on. Who's going to do that?
I'll start. You'll not be surprised what my one is.
Come on then.
Build and promote interest in the environment. And I'm able to do that through ESRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, and also as 1010's DEO.
Okay, one other.
I just thought, came to me, Ryla. We've had problems getting kids interested. We get really good publicity when we do Santa Sleigh. So when we do Santa Sleigh next year, put out a Ryla advert at the same time as publicising Santa Sleigh, because thousands of people look at it.
Right, one more, Anne.
Rotary Kids and Interact. And as far as Rotary Kids are concerned, we take a pledge to be good citizens, and that's what we need youngsters to do. And it's also support for Rotarians helping the teachers and everything, all the problems they've got in schools.
Okay. Pile it all into the chat box. Pile it into the chat box, all of you. Right, I'm going to put on the screen again. A very short one this time, only a couple of slides. So the kind of things that interest you, put it in the chat. So what about our youth? So if we aim to, understand the needs and aspirations of our people, of our youth, and we've already talked about some of the young artists, young musician, young chef, but it's all for young people, with young people, and they're so inspiring. Some of the things on youth, like Youth Speaks or Ryla or Young Chef that we've got here. But we've talked about what you want to do, but what would you tell someone about Rotary? Again, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. What would you tell someone about Rotary? 5 minutes. That's all you're getting. So welcome back. Great seeing everybody back. So again, go and put those ideas in the chat. Go and put, what would you tell someone about Rotary? And I'm going to pick somebody that's not spoken. So how about, where are you? Sheena Anderson, do you want to share what you thought? You haven't spoken yet. Sheena's hiding.
No, I'm not. So I'll leave it and show you my face as well. I'll unmute myself and show my face so you get the full works, Ken.
Wow.
Asking. Thanks, Bill. I always knew I could rely on you. No, I think what I said I got out of what I think I would say about Rotary is the opportunity to get really involved with the community. And when I joined Rotary, I was a good bit younger. My kids were younger. And when I got involved, I got my kids involved with what I did as well. So much so that they're now very supportive. They're very, community minded. They like getting involved with things that I do. And we've got a lot out of it. So I think you know, getting everybody, I hate organising things at our own Rotary Club, you know, and maybe the Rotarians come along, but where are their wives and their partners and their sons and their daughters and their grandkids, you know?
Brilliant. So Roger, how about you?
Yeah, I think Fun and Fellowship is a very important part of Rotary. And over the last few years, we've been doing more community-based works. And that the things I'm looking at for next year is fun, fellowship, and about fundraising, the 3 Fs.
Good, thank you. And Scott, just to put you on the spot, you'll need to unmute. I forgot to tell people, if you're told to unmute, it's £5 to foundation.
Is it? Right. Well, is that before or after? Anyway, I can't really add anything that we were actually talking about has already been said before, I think. And it's basically, I don't know, I think it was Alistair said, we help people, you know. Great.
Excellent.
To the point. Thank you.
I was looking for somebody in group. Is Georgette still on? Lost her. No.
No, she had to go to another meeting.
Ah, right. So come on, Martin, then I'll pick you.
Right. Well, I've just put it on the chat. We talked about 3 things. We help others less fortunate than ourselves, both locally and internationally. We get opportunities for personal development, and we experience good fellowship.
Excellent. Excellent. So I've got a couple more slides and then we can have a wee chat. Let's see if I can make this work again. So what would you tell? The amazing thing is, there's this horrible statistic that 90% of people have never asked anybody along to Rotary, never mind ask them to join. And what we find is all you've got to do is ask, but we've got to have an offering that they're going to join. Something, as we said, I-cubed, inviting, inspirational, and irresistible. So stick all the ideas in the chat. Let's see what's in there. So here's how district helps you, or people going along. District governor at the bottom holding things up. We've got an executive, which assistant governors, treasurer, secretary. And of course, the district team, the team leads and the support team, they just support clubs and Rotarians. And then we've got 13 groups, in each group supported by an assistant governor. And we're very fortunate, we do have 13 assistant governors. And people said when we went from 8 to 13, we can't get 8, how are you going to get 13? We actually do have, going forward, 13 assistant governors. So thanks to them and thanks to everybody. But the whole idea is this is not top down, it's bottom up. District governor and the team are here to support clubs and support Rotarians. And our focus particularly, and we've talked about public image, but you've heard me saying it's membership, public image and foundation. I think if we can focus on that and help everybody else with that, most other things will solve themselves. Membership, public image and foundation. No membership, no public image. And guess what? No public image, no membership. And none of that will give us a foundation. So it's just ordinary people. It's you and me doing extraordinary things, working together. And above all, let's have fun, but it's making a difference. Everybody says we can't make a big difference, but if we all, somebody said to me before, if everybody sweeps their own front door, the world will be a clean place. So if we can all do a little bit, wouldn't it be just superb? If you want to know more, District Council, 25th of March, District Assembly, 23rd of April, face-to-face in Dundee. 10th of June, District Conference, Dewar Centre in Perth. And on the 3rd of April, Ask the DG on Zoom. Any question you want, but we'll have a limit of 100. So just, that's not questions, that's just people. And of course, use my Rotary. Use my Rotary. Find out so much more. And everybody's welcome to each and every one of these things. And if you want to know more, krmcl@hotmail.com. happy for anything on that. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pick up one thing, and public image sneaked in there a couple of times. We're discussing the district budget, which has just been sent to presidents and secretary of the district budget. And in there, I asked for us to put in 7,500 for us to do something on public image and take that forward. Somebody's put in there, a couple of people have put in there, we need TV campaigns. TV campaigns will swallow that instantly. But actually, I was speaking to STV just for the northeast of Scotland, not for the whole of the district, and they alone would do that. If you think we should put more in that budget, go and put a counter proposal, go and come to the district council. And the purpose of the public image was for us to go and get external help and support, because I'm not happy with the public image. Clearly, you're not happy with the public image. And it's making sure we get the right demographics. Ulster, our Britain and Ireland headquarters, did a campaign. They did a very targeted campaign with a very targeted demographic in a very targeted geographical area. And that was all to set up the Rotary Global Hub. And they got 250 responses, and it cost them 1,500 quid. Imagine what we could do if we get the right support. And the question is, if we got 1,000 people saying we're interested, let's make sure our clubs are suitable and in a format that makes them work. So public image is very much on the agenda for us to do something about. So I said we'd take 75 minutes, and that's 65 of them. I'm really happy for questions, discussion. Don't put your hand up. Go and use the reactions button and put your hand up, or just wave. I can see everybody on the screen. Malcolm.
Just a question, Ken. You mentioned earlier on that I think you said 5 new Rotary clubs in 1010.
I said the last 5.
Or the last 5. Of those last 5, how many members are on the call?
None that I can see.
Does that not say something?
Yeah, Alistair is. There we go. Alistair. Alistair's in one of the new clubs. Alistair Robb.
Right. Okay.
For sure he is.
So that's just one.
Yeah. Can't force them. Sheena.
I was going to say exactly the same before you asked about the latest 5 clubs. I was actually going to say, why are there only 18 or 19 participants here? And they're all well-kent faces, aren't they? Pretty well. And that's not what we need, is it?
Exactly. So the question for you then is, how are you going to share with your club all those opportunities we just put forward? You know,
well, I invited every single one of them to attend, and not one of them came back to me. I distributed the Zoom link and said, and especially for new members, and we've had 4 new members recently. Obviously, nobody's taken it up. So I will report back on Wednesday, as I always do, on our agenda. If there's anybody visited any other clubs, and I'll say, well, no, but it was a very interesting discussion, and was so disappointed that I barely recognised, well, there was nobody from our club there. I don't know. I don't know how to get them.
You're here. Neil.
I just want to say that I totally agree with what Sheena's just said, and everybody that was in room 3 heard me saying that as well. What a poor turnout for an important meeting when there are so many people right across the district. Sad, sad, sad to see this.
How do we change that then, Neil?
Image, I think, is the big one.
Yeah.
I'll keep saying that forever. You got to change the image. And I also said earlier that there used to be a situation where you had to attend so many meetings. There's lots of members now that I know that are not attending meetings at all, and they're not active members. So, I mean, that's not helping the image either.
No.
I know a club that if they're not active, if they're not going along, if they're not contributing, they're out. And they keep their numbers. Douglas.
Yeah, I was going to ask a practical question. We're having an information evening for newer members and potential new members. Can we have some of your slides, please?
Absolutely. I'll send them on.
Okay, appreciate that. Thanks very much.
I would send them to everyone.
From the previous point, I'm not sure about enforcing attendance. I think that would be a counter issue. I think that's one of the things that created difficulties for members in the past, and particularly younger members with families and busy jobs. Now mostly both parents working because of the way lifestyles are these days. I think if you bring back a regimented attendance requirement, you're going to lose members or not get them in the first place.
I completely agree with that. My own club, we've somebody that doesn't make. I'll come to you in a second, Marguerite. I see your hand. As long as you can unmute this thing. We've somebody in the club can't make meetings. He's a factor on an estate. Who's first when it comes to bonfire? Who's first when it comes to Santa Sleigh? Is he a Rotarian? Absolutely is. For sure is. And if people are contributing at projects at the weekend, or he was out with Shelter Box the other day for something for Turkey, who's front of you? He was. Absolutely the best Rotarian, one of the best Rotarians we have. Marguerite. You're on mute.
Unmute, Margaret.
Now, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Can you hear me? Yeah, all right. I would think that when people are asked to join, that maybe they should be given a certain, you have to do maybe 50 hours voluntary contributions, hands-on a year or something like that. And if you give them that at the talk, at the introduction, then they have more of an idea.
If somebody says it's, and I'll come back to your point, Douglas, it's 50 hours or whatever it is, that's an hour a week. Somebody misses 4 meetings and goes along and does something in the morning on a project. That counts.
Absolutely, but that's exactly my point.
Yeah.
So everyone will contribute in their own way. And the other thing is, image is important, but there's no point in throwing out the baby with the bathwater.
Yep.
And so, yeah, having younger people in is important, but I think you have to be really careful that, yeah.
We need a balance across the age groups.
And the cultures.
Yeah.
And multicultural.
Yeah. Neil.
I've just come back, Ken, because I think the point I made was missed. I'm not talking about ageism or anything like that. The word I used, I want you to be picking up on, is active. Now, what you've described as people that do something, I'm talking about people that do nothing.
Yeah. But we're in the same boat. We're in the same.
I didn't sound that way to me, Stanley, but I'll let you off with it.
We're in exactly the same boat. What else? Brian, you just stuck something in the chat I never noticed.
No, I was agreeing with Malcolm.
Oh, right.
But Malcolm's talking about some kind of pack for new members.
Yeah.
And I think we've spoken before at district about talking to people in their first and second year in Rotary and trying to widen their knowledge and keep them in Rotary.
Sure. How many people here mentor new members? Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, can I just say something? Ken, I'm here on behalf of 2 new ones, we hope. I've got all the things here to tell them they couldn't make tonight.
Good.
So let's hope. I've got them written down properly, explained it to them properly.
So I'm going to put a past district governor on the spot here. George, you're safe because you keep dropping in and out. So it's going to be Bill Wood, I'm afraid. What's your secret, Bill, going forward?
Oh, well, I still get involved in things. You know, I know it's a fact that when you're old, you've passed it, but I'm still a source of information in the club and try and direct people, not say that's not the way we did it in the past, because there's nothing worse than a turn off for that. But trying to keep in an active mind and get me. I mean, I was planting bulbs 2-3 weeks ago. Now it's quite a hard job, to do these things, but I was mucking in like the rest of them. And I started doing spectacle collections, and I got 20 pair, but I suddenly discovered there's so many massive piles of spectacles in the northeast of Scotland. I'm going to have 1,000 spectacles by the end of this month, and it's things like that. You think, oh, what's the point in doing that? But it's just it's jobs for the boys. It's perfect, Anyway,
someone else. And Malcolm.
Just very briefly, the tone of the conversation in Rotary tends to be, we need to get new members. I think the opposite is, we need to get our existing members more involved, more engaged, and more active. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and some of our links are pretty weak. So never mind the new members. If we get the existing members working right and ticking over, the new members will want to join.
It's always easier.
I'll add, sorry, Roger.
No, it's always easier for a business to keep their existing customers than getting new ones. And I feel exactly that's what we're doing. We're trying to get new customers, and all the time when we speak, spending some time, if somebody's not supporting their club, we should be nailing them and asking them what's wrong, what can we do to help to get them involved. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So the horrible statistic is we would be over 4,000 members if we haven't lost anybody in the last 10 years. A third of our new members leave within 3 years. Why? You know the reasons why. They won't tell you at the time. Great conversation. I said 75 minutes. That is 75 minutes now. This is recorded. I'll tidy it up. I'll pick up the chat and I'll share the chat back out. I've got all your names. So we'll get that shared back out. And Doug, I'll get a copy of these slides to you. And Frank, I've not forgotten my promise to you either. So first of all, thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. You're free to go back to the couch, and thank you all for coming along. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Right.